Hey guys, again, we are out here at the Craig Felton Memorial Scholarship Golf Tournament, and we had Alex Stalock kind enough to join us, a South St. Paul Packer. We had a great conversation, and the audio sucked.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
But we luckily had some video.
Shout out Fred, who had that idea.
Yes, exactly. So that's why we'll rehire him again after firing him. Wasn't good enough for us to include in the podcast, but we're gonna have this one off. Bear with us. Some of the audio from that isn't the best, but the conversation with Alex was still too great to not include it in some capacity. So
yeah,
we'll be able to give you that here in this separate video.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed anyway. It was a lot of fun, and like we said, we're out here at the golf tournament. They got a little sign for us here, Bardown Beauties. We're always honored to be invited out to this stuff, and honored that Alex came out to join us. We had to find a way to get it in the episode some way, somehow. So you just had to go to our YouTube to watch it instead.
Sorry, but enjoy. Here's Alex Stalock. Joining us now, one of our absolute favorite human beings and a pretty good goaltender, Mr. Alex Stalock. Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me out here, and obviously it's for a great cause, so no better place to be than on a Friday afternoon.
You're a proud South St. Paul Packer, you know, you gotta love that. Tell us a little bit about Mr. Felton. You said he followed you all the way up.
Well, I don't think he necessarily followed me. He followed our class. I wasn't the greatest student, but I loved going to school, just being around our, your group of friends or whatever it was, and I think it started in 7th grade. We had a class with him. It was like a general science class, and we spent a lot of time in detention. I know he always put your name on the board, and then you just add 15 minutes and add 15 minutes and add 15 minutes. And I swear, there was 4 of us by the end of the year. We had 4 hours and 15 minutes of detention built up. But I think it was just his way of wanting to hang out with that crew of people after class, you know. And so then we go up in 9th grade, and we had him again, and sure enough, we built up detention. And I felt like all the way to senior year, we always had him as a teacher, and he spoke at our commencement. And, he was kind of always that teacher that everybody talked about during passing time or whatever it may be. And, it was always a fun class. We had a music appreciation. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he got a kick out of that. And he kept it fun, and that was the biggest thing that we enjoyed. And I think our class, we enjoyed having fun, so he was a perfect fit for us.
Well, and you'll know the answer to this question. Any South St. Paul Packer will know the answer to this question as well, which is why we're doing a golf tournament to honor him. What was he always holding out in the hallways?
Oh, gosh. I don't know, probably one of my hats. I don't know.
A golf club. He was always swinging a golf club on the hallway. Did he do that when you had him?
I don't remember that. I wonder if
he must have had tenure by the time I had him, because he was out in the hallway with the golf club all the time.
I don't remember that. I thought he was either taking my hat off my head or take somebody's pop out of their hand.
He was always out in the hallway though, talking to students. You walked in that science hallway, and he was always out there, always talking to kids. He was a golf coach, and so always talking to people about golf. And it's nice to be out here at a golf tournament, because this is where he would be on a Friday if he was here today.
Tell us a little bit about your science then. Should we do science trivia? Were you good at science?
No, I was. 8th grade, I think we cut open a worm and did that stuff. But I think it was more you were in his class. Your first time you were talking to girls, and you know what I mean. And you just so happened you got to you do a co-ed class where you're doing a science project with a girl. And that was the biggest thing I remember from 8th grade, And then as you got older, we started focusing a little bit more on the school part. But still, I think the number one goal in his class was to have fun and try to build minutes to get an attention with them, somehow get under his skin.
You said he was your commencement speaker. He was a good speaker. Do you remember anything that he said in that speech that you still to this day think about? Or is that all a blur too?
God, it's been
15 years.
16 years now, and I think he did take a few jabs at some of his favorite students throughout the speech, and he made everybody laugh for sure.
Switch gears, talk a little hockey, a little off-season. What's the off-season like for you right now? I know you're at the Beauty League. How's that going? Fun to have fans?
Yeah, it is. It really is. The first night I got there, I was like, oh my gosh, it was just sold out already that first night. I'm like, holy, people miss this. And every night people show up, and guys have fun with it, and they're trying fun stuff on the ice and keeping it light with the fans. And obviously the kids' engagement's the best part. Walking in and out of the rink, signing autographs for the kids, and it's still cool to, even at 34 years old, it's still cool to have kids asking for your autograph and tell them you're your favorite player, which you don't get that much. So I don't get that much. So it's cool.
Speaking of kids, we can't ignore your other little sister, helping you out. What's her name and how?
Selena, and she's 3. Do you want to say hi, Selena? She's got her frozen headphones on. So
Yeah, she's busy eating Swedish fish. Yeah.
You know, you are still a fan favorite. I know Minnesota Wild fans were very bummed when you were claimed off waivers. What was Edmonton like for you? I know when we last caught up with you, you were locked away in a hotel room and forced to exercise on an exercise bike, I think.
It was very interesting. Obviously, crossing the border, going in, it was like 2 hours to get through the border, and not only just with the COVID stuff, but with I had to get workers, visa or workers permit or whatever it was. So I sat there for like 2 hours, and I was like, then I had to get in the COVID line of like 10 cars, and people were in like the suits, and I was like, holy cow. It was 14 days in the hotel, and you know, the first like few days, like, okay, this is kind of cool, I get some sleep, you know what I mean? It's like quiet in my hotel room, this is crazy. And then it got really boring, and then I felt like it turned into like a hockey game. I watched every hockey game possible. I could have told you about any player, how they were playing at the time, or any of that stuff. And then I got done with my quarantine, and I remember I went out to dinner one night, and I think they were on the road. I went out to dinner at actually one of the places that was open for the bubbles. I could go over there and watch hockey and eat dinner off a plate and have a beer and sit there and watch hockey. And the next day I go in the locker room, the first time I kind of meet the guys, I was like, oh, it's nice to get out of quarantine. I could go out and have dinner last night. And like, man, you can't go out to eat dinner. Like, it's a team rule. Like, our owners had a big meeting with us, like, no going out to dinner. And I'm like telling the guys, oh, it's great to go out. So
breaking rules right away.
So I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so I broke that rule right away, and then learned in a hurry that there's no going out to dinner. And that part was tough. But nothing was open, and then, you know, they started opening golf courses you could play, and like we love doing that on off days once the weather up there was was warming up where we could. You want to go golfing? But so we were playing as foursomes, and obviously guys were having fun, and then Alberta Health shut it down, and we had to play as twosomes. You could barely get out, and it was just like, it was so you're locked in an apartment, a single apartment with no family. Obviously with kids, that attention span goes in about a week. You know, you're on FaceTime, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, hi, Dad, and they run away. So the conversations kind of go, and so it was nice to get home, and obviously it's been a great summer, and a lot of family time.
So you got off on the wrong foot with your Edmonton teammates right away. So were they just like ripping hard shots at you in practice, or how did they pay you back for that?
They were more like, was this guy serious? He doesn't get it. Well, I wasn't up in Canada for, obviously them going through training camp. They had meetings like, here's our rules, here's this and that. And I got done with my 14 days, and I'm like, I'm done.
I'm gonna live my life.
Quitting getting like food delivered in my room, answering the door, pulling it in, eating with a plastic fork. I'm like, I'm gonna go out and sit down. And
when they would deliver your food, were you just begging for conversation? Like, hey, how are you? What's going on?
There was a guy that worked at the hotel where I was kind of like, I could see this guy all the time. It was like one of those conversations where like every day you come home, and I just want to go to my room.
Yeah.
But it was good. And then after a few weeks, I moved to an apartment, so it was a little bit easier. But still, coming home to an empty apartment's not the best, when you're not playing hockey and you're not doing too much. So.
Right. You mentioned you've watched a lot of teams, a lot of players. Did you catch Kirill Kaprizov?
Yes.
What were your thoughts there?
Well, TSN hockey is covered a little bit different in Canada. So, I mean, it's on all day, and obviously the way, Kirill played this year, and, being here for just a short time while he was here, and, watching 10 games or whatever, maybe, you could tell the kid could play. And, I think he's underrated strong, and, he's going to be a superstar, obviously. Hopefully it all works out and they get something done with him here in Minnesota, because he's already become a fan favorite, and, that was just 1 year. So it's going to be fun to watch this kid grow and, see what he can do in this league.
As a Minnesotan, doesn't this feel classic Minnesota, though? Like classic Minnesota sports. You finally get something. And then it's like, nope, just kidding.
Yeah, and all of a sudden he's going to sign with the Rangers or something. No, you hope that's not the case. I think he truly likes it here, and obviously it's a great group in the room. And, not only him, too, but I mean, Kev's another guy that they need to get taken care of. And, I think he's a great player, and he's starting to kind of, come into his own, and he's figuring out the game. No, I'm happy for Kev. When he first got here, obviously things weren't easy for him, and, Fenton brought him in as kind of his guy, and he was, he was traded here for a huge piece of Minnesota hockey, and when Granlund left, a lot of people were upset about that, and, I think now kind of Kevin's becoming the player that everybody was hoping he'd become. And
the game breaker.
He is. He really is, and, he's only going to get better, and hopefully if they get those two signed, it's going to be some good years of wild hockey.
So, we're out here at a golf tournament, obviously, so our favorite thing to ask guests when we're at a golf tournament is
Don't ask my handicap.
I'm not going to ask that. You don't have to go there, but how is your golf game overall?
I just played yesterday.
Hi!
I knew it'd only take about 5 minutes and she'd come out and she'd want to talk. I just played yesterday, and the front nine wasn't off to a great start. And I actually went for lessons before, and I didn't take anything away from that. I left the range being like, oh my gosh, I can't take any of this to the course.
Is that your first time out this year, though?
No. I was like, I got on the first team, like, I'm not throwing that all out. And then every shot I took, guys were like, just try this. And after a few holes, I was like, just stop swinging. I'm just going to try to swing. But
so did you grow up playing golf, or was it something, a lot of hockey players play golf in the off season? Was it something you adopted as you got older, or how did you get into it?
No, we did play when we were younger. I grew up playing at whether it was Mendota Par 3 or Inverwood, which a lot of people are back joining Inverwood now. And we'd start on the executive course, and we'd go up there, we'd play a little golf, and we'd do a lot of ball hockey. We'd look for balls in the world. If you were behind us, they hated it because it took us about 3 hours to play 9 holes as kids. But I think that's where we learned how to, just love the game of golf. And obviously hockey players in general, I feel like, just a natural swing. And but yeah, more and more lately, and now my wife plays it quite a bit, so it makes it good. Yeah, she plays in women's night, and I get to do the men's night, so it's a ton of fun.
Would you guys do the co-ed?
We did. We had one this year as a Mr. and Mrs. Club Championship. We did awful.
I am great at driving the golf cart. Great at having some beverages.
Yeah, that's my strong suit too. Actually, driving the cart, making the turn. And waiting for the bev cart.
And I know you're a big fisherman too. Have we been out fishing this year? How's that been?
We were July. We were gone for it was crazy, like 22 or 30 days of July on vacation. We were up in Brainerd for 2 weeks. So we did a lot of fishing. It's not the fishing I did maybe 10 years ago where we'd be out walleye fishing for hours. She likes riding the boat with her brother. Whatever Simon does, she jumps right along and wants to try. And she tries to keep up. It's sometimes it's hard because Simon will, he knows what her limits are, and he'll push a little bit too far. But
no way.
It's all about being the little sister.
So as we head into this upcoming season, obviously as you figure out where you're going to end up, there's a lot of things changing for the better moving into this season, getting back to a normal schedule, fans back in the buildings. We've been asking our guests this offseason, what are you most looking forward to? It's been a weird couple of years, weird couple of playoffs. I mean, it's hard to believe we've been through 2 years of just strange seasons. You're somebody who thrives off the energy of fans. Is that something you're really looking forward to as the season returns to normal?
No, I am. Obviously, what we talked about in Edmonton was almost unfair, where we had no one in the stands, and you look down at Florida, Carolina, and buildings are sold out in playoffs, and you're like, it's just so different, especially playoff hockey. And obviously the bubble was really unique, and just to be a part of it, guys that were in it will always have stories. And I still just the other day at Beauty League we were talking about the different bubble experiences, guys that were in the East compared to what we had in the West, and all that stuff. But it'll be, I hope, obviously with this new variant that everybody's, they're ramping up for. I just hope that we can get it taken care of and get back to normal, because not only veteran guys in the league, but young guys too deserve to see what the NHL is all about, and the real NHL with fans and rivalry games and all that. Obviously for me to get a new chance, whether maybe Edmonton or somewhere else, and make the most of it, and hopefully get a few more years out of this body.
Yeah. I mean, you're such a positive guy too. Is that how you're just kind of taking it right now? Just like whatever happens, knowing it's kind of out of your control, really, ultimately, right?
Right. Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's kind of how it went down here. Obviously, going on waivers, you have no control, and I think they were thinking that maybe he'd slide through waivers. Their goalie situation where they had one guy that was just kind of coming off injury, and maybe you get a chance, and it never worked out. It just happens, and hopefully, this year I can go and have a strong camp somewhere and show that, for a depth guy or whatever it may be, that there's still game left.
Well, and you're beloved in the locker room. That's a great thing, a great asset. Absolutely. I mean, at least I loved you in the locker room. All the guys on the Wild team certainly did too. And again, the fans clearly love you. We have some fan questions for you. In fact,
really,
we do a lot. Some good ones. Ready?
Some good ones. They are good. Yes.
Alex Nicoletti wants to know, what is your favorite memory of playing in the NHL so far?
Oh man, I think I think my first game will always be, my parents were able to be there. They just flew out not knowing if I was going to get in or not, and I ended up going in halfway through the game, and they were out there, and it's just for all the stuff your parents, all the sacrifices they made as for 7 a.m. game down in Fairmont at a tournament on a Sunday. You don't realize now, being a parent, getting your kids to hockey and all that, it's not the easiest thing in the world, and we never missed a practice, never missed a game. It was always a priority, and for them to be there was awesome.
Bruce on Twitter says that his son is a young goaltender, 11 years old, loves playing goalie. He said, what advice would you give to a young goaltender to maintain that passion that they have early on?
Well, for me, I think I played forward all the way through.
That's
Beauties,
right, you did, yeah.
So,
I forgot about that.
Anybody who's watching can certainly tell that, right?
I was never a full-time goalie until actually like Bantams. They were like, all right, you gotta play goalie now. And I think for me, the game now I feel like is almost like 365 days a year at a young age. And or when I was younger, I got to play baseball, I got to play football, I got to play hockey, and seasons would change. And but I think the ability to play out every other game, in South St. Paul, I was really lucky, and I actually loved going to the rink when I was playing forward more than playing goalie, especially at a young age. And I think that kind of saved me. And I think obviously goalies nowadays, like kids coming up, like I said, I'm 34. I see these 20-year-old goalies. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I was even close to where you were when you were 20. So it's hopefully Bruce can allow us to skate out too on the outdoor rinks. Don't always throw them in the goalie gear.
Well, and I'm going to throw on my USA Hockey / Minnesota Hockey hat. And you shouldn't decide what position you are, whether it's forward or defense, until later on. There's no reason not to try everything, right?
Well, and I had an older brother, so
yeah. You had to be in that.
In order to hang out with him or his friends, it was like, go play goalie. And I was like, all right, fine. So I was always thrown into the net.
It's so funny because I don't know if you remember this, but I remember when I was pregnant with my second kid, and it was a boy, and I was so bummed out, and you were like, hey, brothers are the best, he'll be the goalie. And I'm like, that's true. Thanks, Alex. You had mentioned too about specialization, right? I talked to Nate Schmidt about this just the other day too. Isn't it weird to see that kids are so focused on hockey so quickly? Like they're not playing other sports and just hanging out or fishing or going to the cabin or enjoying time away from the rink.
Yeah, you even see that at my boy's age, who's 6, 7, that age, kids skating all year. And you talk about the burnout thing. You just hope not. You just really hope that the kid actually does love the game of hockey, and it's not the parents that want the kid to love hockey, because I think that's when you run into issues, when it's the parents playing the game through the kids and force them to do this, and they're playing on 3 different teams through a winter, and it's like for us it was so easy. It's also called, you signed up for Mite Hockey, and that's where you played until high school.
Right.
Every year you knew where you were going to be, and it was Beauty, Bardown, and then high school, and that's now I'm getting signed into hockey, and I'm asking people like, well, where do we even sign? Like, who does he play for? And
Chris on Twitter says, first of all, that he hopes you're healthy. I know we talked about that the last time we had you on. We wish that to you as well. And he wants to know, what is your normal day routine, and are you super superstitious when it comes to it? Do you have to stick to it every single day? We know goalies are a little extra strange, so. Right.
Schedule-wise, I try to keep the schedule the same. I think that's the easiest way to do it, is keep what you do throughout the day, like what time you're kind of showing up. Right. I think is the biggest thing, and making sure you can get home for your pregame nap. Something that at the end of your career is shortened, but you never want to give up. It's the best part of a day, the game day. But no, I try to just get to the rink at the same time all the time. Otherwise, I feel if you get there and all of a sudden you have an hour more than you usually do, or you have only 10 minutes to get your stuff ready, I think all of a sudden you're kind of in a pinch and trying to rush onto the ice and all that. And I try to, like you said, I try to maximize my locker room time with the guys. You know what I mean? So I get in there and hang out with them as long as I can. But yeah, on game day, I try to keep it light and not get too tense before the game.
Right. Josh Rock would like to know, and actually I didn't know this, are you a big fan of He said,
was there a
I don't know if he's inside reporting or what.
We know you're a big fan of the Happiness Fleet Farm.
Maybe he saw you there once.
Or maybe you just look like the guy that likes Fleet Farm.
I do pretty much Fleet Farm quite a bit, but I guess, I don't know if Josh has ran into me at Fleet Farm before, but I do like Fleet Farm. I don't know.
There you go. But he said, what's been your go-to?
The man small.
Yeah, right? I like Fleet Farm.
Yeah, especially if you're camping.
It's got everything. Fleet Farm. But what's been your go-to fishing bait?
It's been basically a small jig and a worm. But I get a bobber setup.
Nice,
I think all my poles have bobber setups on them. So,
okay.
Well, I mean, if you're going for sunnies, it's only there's not much else you can do, right?
Yeah.
If you're walleye fishing, what's your go-to? Keith Ballard refused to tell me.
Yeah, he would
bait.
not.
I told him
Well,
mine.
he doesn't really walleye fish. He's a big bass guy.
Yeah, I gave him.
And I know what he uses.
What does he use?
He uses a wacky worm.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Took a few months, but we got it.
Yeah, what's your go-to when you're not with the kids if you're out doing your thing?
I like Lindy rigging quite a bit. It's simple, and my brother-in-laws do it quite a bit, and I'll end up, if I go fishing with them, it kind of ends up the way we're fishing. So it's probably the most typical way we'll fish.
There you go. I'm a hammer gold minnow with a shiner on there.
Yeah?
My walleyes on Rainy Lake.
Really? He was just up on Rainy.
Were you?
No, my brother-in-law, he did awesome up there. They got like 170 walleye, I guess, in like 5 days.
Oh, it's
he brings
so
up one of those pitch count baseball pitchers.
love
And every time he catches one, he clicks one. So usually at the end of the week, he sends me a picture with the total on it. And there's 170 this last year.
so great.
Yeah.
Like, it's great for walleye fishing. I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. My family's from up there.
Yeah.
I live on the island. But it's wonderful. The Canadian side's a little bit better. Finally opened up. You can go to the Canadian side.
Yeah.
Now, so that's
I heard the
good,
Canadian
but-
side's better for bass. Someone was telling me that, which is really weird. They said the U.S. side's better for walleye, and then the Canadian side's better for
It
bass.
could be.
Which
We
I was like,
hammer
what?
walleyes on the Canadian side.
Yeah.
Like, limit out instantly, but I've never really fished for bass.
Yeah,
I kind of just always go for walleye because that's what I eat. And that's
Exactly.
what I want. But you gotta.
I know, 100%.
We should start a fishing podcast.
I was just gonna say,
now.
I feel like you guys really bonded there. I don't mean to interrupt, but we do have another fan question here. Not
carry on.
fishing related. This is our last fan question that we had. Ethan wants to know the hardest team that you had to play against so far in your career in the NHL. I know it's probably a tough question because it depends on the night, I'm
yes.
sure.
Or
But
year specific, maybe.
yeah.
Right. There's there's been some good teams. Obviously, I've been fortunate to play against Tampa. You know,
Yeah.
get the chance to play against good teams. Like played against Tampa a few times in the last couple of years. Boston's always got
Yeah.
been a really good team. But I think for me, the hardest to play against is like San Jose. I guess play against San Jose a few times, but playing against a bunch of old teammates,
Yeah.
it's every time you go about it, crazy. Just stay focused
And you never say anything back, right? That's not your MO.
The lead up to the game, there's a lot of texts, and you may have dinner with them the night before or whatever, and so there's a lot of talk going into it, but it's just never easy playing against old teammates. You don't want them to score, you hear about it for a while. And, but as far as team wise, obviously Tampa, in LA when I was young in San Jose, teams that won the cup, it always seemed like it was a fun rivalry, and that unbelievable team who won a couple cups.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you caught last week's episode that we had with Marcus Bellino, where he had some choice words for Mr. Darcy Kemper after he scored on him. Did you hear about that ever?
Was that the one down in Arizona?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, where it was a little F.U. Kemper. I mean, have you ever had a teammate say that to you or anything like
No,
aggressive?
no, not that aggressive. No,
pretty
no, it'd be
low-key
something
usually.
funny, yeah. I think in San Jose, like 2 years ago, Logan Couture was my roommate in the American League, and we still stay close to this day. Scored like 30 seconds into the game, and I was like, oh my god. I think I actually got pulled that night. I think we were down like 4-0 after
Oh,
the
no.
first, and, yeah, it was like,
Who had the
wasn't
hardest shot when you were with the Wild? Were there any guys that took liberties maybe, or like who had the hardest shot against you? Whether it was like velocity, was it Dumba?
Well, yeah, he did shoot it, but he never took liberties. I think Nico would a lot because it just so happened that I'd sometimes get under his skin in the locker room.
Imagine
You and everyone else.
And it would just it would carry over in the ice. He'd usually just say something, like, hey, keep your head up out there. And first shot usually be a slap shot pretty high. But no, I mean, Greenway shoots the puck, pretty dang hard.
Yeah.
But most guys are, pretty good. They're smart enough to not try and hit you in the face. And they'll send a message. They'll shoot high, but they'll miss the net on purpose. But you know why it's high when you get on there. If maybe you said something in the locker room.
That's amazing. Well, Alex, thank you again so much for coming out here, joining
And
us.
Selena.
Yeah.
Selena, yeah, mostly Selena. But thank you so much. We appreciate it.